Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, da-hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, the princess, she walked happily home. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to What the Folklore, Making Sense of Senseless Tales. I am your reader, Carmen.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Gordy, and we are here to read and discuss a strange fairy tale.
Fairy tale from somewhere in the world that you two have not heard before.
Never once.
You have heard these titles before, though, because I am forcing you into a corner on some of these tales that you have over and over again overlooked. So you get just enough agency to choose between two of them this week until we read all of these. So you about lucked out in that I had forgotten which story options I'd given you 2 days ago, but then I looked at them and I remembered, so you're not that lucky.
And they are?
Our Lady's Child from Grimm, or Cinderjack from Hungary.
Cinderjack?
Cinderjack.
Cinderstick.
Okay. Cinderstick from Georgia. That's the one.
Yep. I want to read Cinderjack.
That's not an option.
Is Cinderjack real?
Yes, Cinderjack is a real story.
What are these about?
People, places,
Give me
things.
something to go on.
Okay, Our Lady's Child involves Mother Mary.
Like the Catholic Mary?
Yeah, like the Catholic Mary.
Okay.
And Cinderstick has a character named Cinderstick in it.
That's nothing.
Well, I don't remember. I noted most of these around this time last year.
Well, I agree. I still don't want to read Our Lady's Child.
Alright, well...
I don't want to read Cinderstick either, but these are the two we have. I want to read the one about the thing in the sky.
You know.
What?
Yeah, the cabin in the sky.
Cabin in the sky.
It's not one of your options.
Can we read Unanana again?
I choose it. I choose it. Castle in the Sky.
Alright, so by default...
Iron Henry?
By default, you have both chosen Our Lady's Child.
No. I said the other one first. Cinderstick.
Yeah, but you changed your vote to one that didn't count, so...
Cinderstick. Cinderstick or I blow up the podcast.
How long have you had that under your jacket?
Well, not like that. Not literally blow up the podcast.
Digitally?
Digitally.
You're a cyber criminal?
Yeah.
Alright, well... So Cinderstick is what you guys want?
I'm saying Cinderstick.
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the deal. I will read Cinderstick today.
Uh-huh.
Next week.
Nope.
Next week.
Nope.
Guess what next week is?
I know what next week is. That's why I'm saying nope. We have a plan. We stick to the plan.
Oh, I know. It's our anniversary.
Uh-huh.
And so...
Yeah, I know.
We're bringing out a special lady.
I know.
That's not the child, though.
Yeah, immediately after that, however, we are reading Our Lady's Child, and you get no
Well,
choice.
it's 2 weeks from now. We'll think of something.
We'll come up with a plan by then.
Yeah.
To extricate ourselves.
Yeah, I don't have much faith in that. You guys tend to forget.
You tend to forget.
You do.
What now?
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Okay, Cinderstick.
Thumbelina.
What's it about? Tell me.
Jacques Cousteau.
This is another one from Fairy Tales of Eastern Europe, selected and retold by Neil Phillip.
Is that really Eastern Europe?
Georgia?
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's the country, not us. It's pretty close.
I mean, it's in Asia. Whatever. It's fine.
It's in the book.
Somebody has to draw the line somewhere. Why is Kazakhstan in the EU? Get out. You're not in Europe. We have enough problems like that right now. Kazakhstan, go wherever you want. But do get out of Eurovision.
Specifically.
Yeah, like...
Are they too good? Is
like,
that the problem?
Like political unions, that's one thing. Eurovision?
Who are you pulling for in Eurovision?
Is it going?
I don't... Probably not right now.
I have followed it in the past because I like to
listen to songs you don't understand.
I like to have a very strong opinion about something that doesn't at all concern me.
Eurovision's a good choice.
But I haven't kept up with it much this year. I go for Ireland or Iceland every year.
Fair.
Okay, that's enough procrastinating. We're going to the story now.
Hit it.
Once there was a young married couple, but the husband was lazy. He did nothing and he refused to work. He sat all day by the fireside with a stick in his hand that he poked about among the ashes, and that's why he was called Cinderstick. She gave up on his name pretty early into marriage.
Yeah.
He was like Timothy.
I feel like she should have known. Like, I don't want to blame... I'm assuming she's a victim of something. She's a victim of a bad marriage, at least. I don't want to blame her, but I feel like she should have known.
Yeah, you should have a couple conversations about your hobbies and at least spend a long weekend together before you start cohabitating and marrying and stuff. And that way you learn how much your intended likes to poke ashes with a stick and not do anything.
Do we ever dive into his past?
We're one sentence in.
I need to know if we get to the bottom of his psychosis.
We're one sentence in and I haven't read this in like a year.
We can try and diagnose him as we go.
Alright, armchair psychologist. Go ahead and pull out your notepads. One day, the wife says, "Husband, get up and stir yourself. Go out and work and bring something into the house or I can't stay with you." So good for her. Putting her foot down.
I'm literally dying. Feed me.
She can feed herself. She's doing
What does she
all the
do?
work. Everything.
What's everything?
What is her profession?
Keeping their household running, which presumably means
How?
either working for money or plowing the fields for food.
Well, he's doing important work too.
He has his own stuff going on.
Has that house burned down? No. Who do you have to thank?
The fire department, a.k.a. Cinderstick.
He's just poking ashes.
Yeah.
There's no...
He's
there's
checking
no
for
fire.
other fire.
Okay.
You gotta flip them to see if they're still burning.
Every house should have one.
Well, her words did no good, and he still sat by the fire. But on Easter Sunday, he did make up his mind to go to church, so he's one of those churchgoers that just go on the special occasions. But
Pay
when
the respects on the holiday.
Yeah. When he came home, however, the door was locked and his wife refused to let him in. So he asked her to give him a bag full of ashes.
What kind of blaspheming monster is she that she wasn't at church?
The kind who has to do all the work at the house and doesn't have time for God.
Well, he's better off now.
Don't work on the holy day.
Well, if you...
She's sinning all day. She's not allowed. Explain that.
Maybe she's brought up in a different religion. Maybe her holy day's on Saturday.
She's Jewish.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a good dynamic. One is
Swap.
Jewish, one is Christian. Some you get work done 7 days a week. You get your admin out of the way
Sure.
every day. It's a good system.
Yeah.
Swap your holy days.
So he asked her to give him a bag full of ashes, because you gotta keep that habit going, and some fresh cheese, and that's it. And he slouched away after he got all this.
So he just conceded defeat.
Yeah. The storyteller doesn't know whether this man went far or not, but he did come to a broad river, and sitting on the opposite bank was a giant div, which is a word meaning giant, so a giant, drinking greedily from the river.
Was it two giants in a very big trench coat?
No, it's like 17 owls.
Trying to buy one movie ticket.
Cinderstick is very frightened, but his only other option is going home to his wife or stay and be eaten for breakfast by the div, and he thought he had to think about it.
Who's scarier, my wife or two very big giants?
In a trench coat. After a bit, he came up with a plan. He made a hole in his sack of ashes, and he swung it quickly round and round his head, making a huge cloud of dust. This alarmed and astonished the div, who took a stone and told Cinderstick, "I bet you can't squeeze water out of a stone." Because that's what you say when you see a man on the opposite bank make a cloud out of nothing.
He feels threatened. He's relying on his specialty.
Cinderstick says that's easy, and he squeezes his new cheese until water comes out of it.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's borrowing from the Taylor playbook.
And the tailor published a Dealing with Giants guide.
Taylor became Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins of crushing giants.
Cinderstick then called out to the div and ordered him to come over here and let him climb up on his shoulders so that he can be carried across the river. The div obeyed, and when Cinderstick was on his shoulder, the div comments on how light he is. Cinderstick replies that he's only light because he's holding on to heaven with one hand, and if he let go, the div would not be able to carry him. The div is a curious fellow. And wants to experience what it's like. So Cinderstick takes out his awl and bores it into the div's head until the div roars at him and tells him to catch hold of heaven again. Because having something born into your head definitely feels like a lot of weight.
Can I go back for a sec?
Okay.
I kind of just want to bask in the scene of this man doing a rave dance with his cinders to confuse a giant.
It is very easy to insert Sandstorm into that scene.
He's just twisting and shouting and raging.
Alright, so when they make it to the far side of the bank, the div says, "Get down, it's time for a meal." Cinderstick is terrified that he's the meal, but there's nothing he could do but get down and accompany the div home. The div's house pleased him very much. Nice place. There was an enormous loaf in the oven, and the div tells Cinderstick to watch the loaf so it doesn't burn while he preps dinner. So it's just like this giant bachelor just hanging out at home. Cinderstick sees that one side of the loaf is well browned, and he wants to turn it over, but he slipped and fell beneath it. He pushed it with all his strength, but the loaf was too heavy and it was stuck. After a while, some other divs come home, his roomies, and they're astonished and ask him what he's doing under this loaf.
Is this Cinderstick's greatest fear? Is something catching fire in front of him?
His experience seems well suited to the task he's been given. Maybe he was George's first fire marshal.
He's the twisted fire stopper.
Cinderstick replies that he had a dreadful stomach pain, and the warm loaf was making it better. But he feels pretty good now, so they can take it away if they want. The divs wanted wine with their dinner, so one took a huge jug and gave it to Cinderstick and told him to fill it with wine from the barrel in the courtyard. Cinderstick is frightened of the huge jug, but he takes it and goes outside. The divs waited, but he didn't come back. So they go outside to see what's up with him.
Wasted.
And they find him digging at the barrel, which was bigger than a man and half buried. They ask what he's doing, and he says, well, it'll be easier to fetch the whole barrel than to go back and forth with a little jug. The divs are alarmed because 9 of them can hardly move the barrel when it's empty.
Kegger, brah! Let's do it!
So they decide something is strange about, and they fill the jug themselves instead of having him carry the barrel.
Whatever, little weirdo. Drunkard.
During dinner, one of the divs coughed, and it blew Cinderstick up to the ceiling. They see him on the rafter, and they ask, like, what the hell, dude? What are you doing up there? And he shouts down, "How dare you cough in my presence? I will pull this stick out of the roof and warm your flanks with it."
And what?
Warm your flanks with it.
Spank him.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's going to give a giant spanking.
Kanky.
The divs are now...
Give them Kanky Spanks.
Divs are more frightened because 9 of them together can hardly move one of those rafters. I don't know why they would be trying.
What, are they just taking him at his word?
They
Yeah.
like to know what their capabilities are as a unit.
But
They're a well-greased machine.
when the time comes for Div Voltron to assemble,
They know exactly what they can and cannot do.
right, you can have it on their CV, on their website, on their list of services, and they know immediately who to say no to when they apply. So 9 can hardly move one of the rafters, and this man calls it merely a stick. So they are frightened and flee the house, scattering around, and Cinderstick settles down comfortably. On their flight, one of the divs met with a fox, and the fox asked him where he's running to and what happened to make such a giant man so scared.
It's a bold fox.
It is, but You know, he's a fox. He's wily, and they're giants, and they're the opposite of that. So he's probably used to dealing with them, and perfectly fine. The div answered that he's running away because a man came to their house and nearly swallowed them up. Which you might know was never a thing he threatened.
Not a threat, just their true fear.
It's something that keeps them awake at night.
They had a nightmare once where a very small man ate them slowly.
The fox laughed when the div had told him the whole story, and he replied, "Oh, that is Cinderstick, a poor, starving wretch whose wife drove him out of his house because he was so lazy. I know them both quite well. I have eaten many of their hens."
Many of their unguarded hens.
What a thing to brag about.
You're a fox. Of course you're going to brag about that. It's like,
This is your profession.
yeah, it's your man card at Fox Times. Fancy you being frightened of such a miserable creature. And the div says, "You haven't seen him and I don't believe you." And the fox says, "Alright, go with me and I'll show you." So the div goes back to the house of the fox, and Cinderstick sees them coming and is frightened, but then he takes courage and begins to shout at the fox, "You wretch! I told you to catch me 12 divs and you bring only 1. Wait till I get a hold of you." The div didn't wait to hear anymore. He just ran away until he had put 9 mountains between himself and Cinderstick.
Yo, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Those are some big steps.
Oh, he's a giant.
I mean, yeah, but
He can afford to.
it's the Usain Bolt of giants.
I'd watch Giant Olympics.
That'd be alright.
It'd be fun.
It'd be hard to cover.
It would be hard to cover. It would be hard to build a stadium for them.
Yes.
Depending on how giant we're talking about, it might be difficult to miss seeing live somehow.
We're all just sort of participating, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, it's like 100-foot robot golf. So Cinderstick now takes everything that belonged to the divs, loads it on camels
From
somewhere.
Camel store.
how is he
Camels
carrying?
are us.
How are they carrying the big stuff?
Camel Depot.
Isn't it giant sized?
I guess some of it. Maybe he leaves the barrel. Maybe he just takes their nice, cool stuff and chops it all
Which
down.
includes camels.
Yeah. Those are like snack peanuts for giants.
Barrels?
Camels.
They're like gushers,
Yeah.
but animals.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
With a hump full of water. That's
I-
not true. Don't perpetuate that myth.
what, camels don't store water in their humps?
Not like sloshing around,
They
but
do.
it's just fat.
Stick a straw in it.
They
I've
do.
seen the cartoons.
Where did the water bottle come from then? If it's not real, how'd they get the idea?
Is that where they keep their cigarettes?
That's the other hump.
Oh, that's why they have two.
One's for water, one's for smokes.
One's for nicotine.
And the camels with only one hump have given up their habit.
Yeah.
They quit.
They traded in their
They read the Surgeon General's warning and
They're
they're
ni-
like, whoa!
their nicotine humps. Is there a triple humped camel yet? I don't want to rule it out. I feel like Dr. Seuss drew one.
Is that the Quasimodo of camels?
He's like a hunchbacked camel.
Yeah.
There's 2 humps and then
And then another,
a hunch that is.
another lump on there.
Yeah, but that might be an advantage.
Well, that's where he keeps his bells.
So any triple humped camels are storing water, nicotine, and bells in that order.
Well, there's that joke from Zootopia. It's like, what do you call a 3-humped camel? Pregnant.
Yeah.
And then it makes a sloth laugh really slowly, and then all the kids laugh at it, and I count down another day of summer camp gone by.
And all the adults laugh at something else. Did you find anything?
Photoshops.
Do you know that they're not real?
There are so many fibbers in the world.
Yeah, it's all fake news.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Do you want to talk about the Yeti real quick?
Can I finish the story?
Okay.
I have like one sentence left, and then we can talk about the Yeti.
All right. Fine, finish your story.
The wife is now pleased to see him returned with all his stuff, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Okay, what do you want?
What do you got?
What's with Yetis?
Or I can do the music first.
Hit it.
All right, we're twizzlered up. Tell us about Yetis.
You know some of those footprints were found at 19,000 feet?
Nope.
It's a long way up.
Allegedly.
It is a long way up.
Allegedly, the footprints were found.
I believe you start dying at like 20,000 feet, 19,000 feet.
But could you take a fake Yeti foot and just chuck it?
Who goes up that high
Aliens.
just to screw around?
Yeah, aliens.
That long ago.
It was part of a crop circle that went wrong. 'Cause those are real.
Those were very confused aliens if they were trying to make crop circles way up in the Himalayas.
It was Alien Olympics, and that was the high dive.
Okay, who found it though?
Who found what?
The footprint.
I don't remember. Lots of people.
Lots of people.
Yeah, mountaineers.
Jane Goodall.
Lots of people.
She did, yeah. She found them.
Lots of people went up there to find it. But
Famous Yeti cryptozoologist Jane Goodall.
She took the apes. Was it apes? It was gorillas.
Uh-huh.
Jane Goodall was gorillas. She took the gorillas and she
Technically
took
also
them.
apes.
Well, they're the same thing. They're all monkeys.
We just
I'm
lost
not-
our scientists.
I'm not into. Well, stop quibbling amongst yourselves as to what's
They're not.
what.
They don't quibble.
I don't care
They're
I don't care what the difference between a gorilla and an ape are. I need to know about these cryptozoological creatures.
Just be inclusive. If it wants to be an ape or a monkey, let it be an ape or a monkey. You don't know how they identify.
That's true. No one's asked.
Yeah, don't assume. Is it species? Is it genus? I don't remember the order. Don't assume any of them.
So Yeti.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and like 19,000 feet is not like joking around. I'm gonna play a prank kind of altitude. I think one of the Attenboroughs said that. I don't remember which one.
Is that a direct quote?
It's a paraphrase.
Okay.
The direct quote I think is no one goes up to 19,000 feet just to make a joke.
Well, not just to make a joke, but like if you're gonna go up that high, you might as well discover something, right? Whether it's real or not.
Also, wouldn't that be the best joke?
Tyler
What?
would go up 19,000 feet to play a dumb joke.
What's
No,
the
I'm
best
saying
joke?
I'm saying if you do it and then you say no one would do that for a joke, it's a pretty good joke.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did Dave Attenborough do it?
No. He didn't. No, he didn't. He said so. It's not him. No, they're real.
They're real and they're very
There's-
high up.
There's some convincing evidence for Yeti.
There's one convincing-ish evidence.
There's not. There's a lot of convincing evidence for Yetis.
How do you feel about thunderbirds?
Yeah, they're extinct, but yes.
What about black-eyed children?
Black-eyed children?
Yeah.
They grew up and started a hip-hop band, right? I don't think there's much to disprove.
They sang with Timberlake that one time.
Did they? Couldn't tell you a single one of their songs, but I know they're real.
You've seen footprints.
Apparently, there is some discussion as to whether they're a purist hip-hop act.
How you like Champion?
Champion?
Yeah. In Lake Champlain.
The three-legged dog?
Yeah.
What is Champion?
It's the Loch Ness Monster, but in Lake Champlain.
Fake. Oh, and Lake Champlain?
Yeah.
Real.
That one is.
I've never
Loch
heard of it
Ness is
before.
not.
Loch Ness was a hoax.
Okay. Proven.
Yeah.
I'm just running down the list of cryptids that I'm aware of. And see where you feel on them.
Lake
Jersey
Cham-
Devil.
Lake Champlain?
Jersey Devil.
Fake.
Mothman.
Real.
Okay.
This is starting to sound a little arbitrary.
It's not. I've researched each one of these
Extensively.
I have never heard of the Lake Champlain one, but it is real.
And
That
your
one's
extensive
real. That one's
research of this thing you've never heard of.
I know the signs well enough. When you study this diligently, like I have, when someone says, "Hey, I found a big thing in this area," you can say yes or no, like that checks or it doesn't. Jersey Devil? No. Come on, it's not real.
Chupacabra.
It's just regular lizards. It's lizards that are eating each other.
Spring-heeled Jack. Is that the real devil?
What?
Was Spring-heeled Jack the real devil and not the Jersey Devil?
He's fictional. He lives in Cyrodiil. I met him in a video game, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Passing.
Yeah.
2 ships passing.
Wish my phone wasn't dead so I could look up the Lake Champlain monster.
How about instead we discuss the story we just read?
Which one?
What's there to discuss?
Cinderstick.
I've already forgotten.
A man pokes some ashes till his wife kicks him out, and then he steals a bunch of stuff from a giant who
Giants.
loves him again.
Sure.
Cinder Rave.
Yeah. The Cinder Disco. He clearly has, we'll say, underutilized powers in his marriage, right? Like, he is capable. Well, okay, here's question 1, because I'm making assumptions. Did he always have the capability that he displayed with the giants? Or did he discover that he had that capability when he was thrust into the situation? Because I think
Was it fight or flight adrenaline?
Yeah, I think with the tailor, with the brave little tailor, episode number 4.
Yeah.
Go listen to that. He didn't know
That he was born for greatness.
until it happened. Like he came into his powers in an instant.
Yeah.
And the instant was killing 7 flies at once. And then he just he knew from head to toe, 100% to the core of his being, he knew that he had powers. But this guy, was it the same thing, or did he already know he was just choosing not to use them? Like a samurai.
Well, a lot of this is not... I don't think flight or fight, because he does take a moment to come up with a plan for each of these.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they're not great plans, and so he's really lucky that giants are notoriously stupid.
It is pretty seat of his pants, though. It's all in the moment.
Kind of. Well, the first one, the Cinder Rave, he has...
Confusing.
He has time. That's what he thinks of.
Yeah.
So that's what he gets when he has time to plan and premeditate his actions.
Is it representing something that we're just not familiar with? Because I'm very confused. Why that was the plan.
Just like making an ash
Like
smoke screen.
kicking up a dust cloud.
Is this like a way to keep large predators?
Is it a superstition?
Like if you're being hunted by wolves or a panther or something,
Gotta get it dusty.
you dust it up and then you're fine. It's like playing dead for bears.
Maybe giants see through echolocation, and heavy ash or dust throws off their sensors, so it can't penetrate as easily.
That would work if they also see through eyeballs like normal people.
Was he
Probably better.
Was he trying to do a ninja escape and just wasn't good at it?
You forgot the escape part?
Yeah.
It's too brief a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Well, like, he comes
It's
to
another
a
Harper Lee
river,
novel.
and he sees the div drinking.
Yep.
And in that moment, he's like, well, it's go home or get eaten. But there are other options. Like, the div has not noticed him until he disco raves.
Also, there's another direction from home.
Right.
The other way.
There are, like, a bunch. There's a whole circle.
He happened upon the div.
Yeah.
It's not like his wife is going to kill him if he comes home. She's just locked the door.
Or if he gets near the house again.
Yeah, she doesn't have a crossbow at the windows. And
As far as we know.
She was willing to give him the stuff he asked for.
Is there an idiom in there that means don't come home empty-handed or I'll shoot you? Probably not. Well, but you're saying he saw the giant and chose to grab its attention.
Right. I am saying that. Do you think it was a suicide attempt? Is he just depressed? Like, is he just having a rough time? You guys were supposed to be psychoanalyzing him.
I thought we had more time. He seems depressed. Maybe he's bipolar. Maybe he went from depressed to manic. And the ash ritual is what makes him change states.
If he was suicidal, he is not very good at it. Because he did a lot of things that
saved his life.
Served to self-preserve.
Wait, maybe the initial act was like, well, I gotta go home to my wife where I'm a failure who just pokes ash, and then like the depression happened. He's like, well, I might as well get eaten by the giant. And then the giant looked at him and he's like, shit, I don't want that. You know, because like a lot of times when you start...
That's a terrible momentary lapse of judgment.
That's kind of how suicide, like trigger warning, that's kind of how that works though. You know, you have that moment where you're like, everything's terrible, and then usually once the attempt is made, you're like, shit, I was wrong. And that's why it's better to try with something that's not successful all 100% of the time. I don't know.
Let's go back to poking cinders.
Yeah.
Because I need to know what that's about.
Poking the cinders?
Yeah.
Maybe it's ASMR.
Why
He
is
likes
that?
the scrapey noise.
Maybe he's an
sound he's
artist
fixated
and he's working on something, and his wife won't just like get off his nuts and let him do it. Probably not. I don't think he's bringing in any income.
No, he's definitely not bringing in income or food. Or
I think she has a right to be upset. Let's establish that.
Yeah, okay.
She brings up some fair points.
And her terms are fairly reasonable. Get up, bring something into this house, or like this marriage is through.
How'd these two get junked together?
Arranged marriage.
Potentially. Or maybe like he put in the effort in the first place, and then as soon as he was like, alright, nuptials succeeded.
Pass me my stick.
Now
She
I can do what I've always dreamed.
She won him at a carnival.
He was in a little goldfish bag.
She dunked him in the machine, and then he belonged to her. And she was unsatisfied with her prize.
Is he like a sea monkey that she grew in a pile of cinders?
A sea monkey that grew in a pile of cinders?
Yeah, cinder monkey.
Why would it be a sea monkey?
It's just a small creature that grows from nothing.
Okay.
See, like a reverse sea monkey.
You could put an egg in there, right?
Cinders?
Under some coals or ashes.
Probably.
Heat it up good. Not like
I
cooking.
mean, I'm going to
up,
say
but...
yes, you can physically put an egg under there.
Well, you
Nothing
can,
will stop you.
but like you don't have to cook it. You can just like
incubate it.
you just incubate it under there. So maybe he hatched from an egg, and she just was not happy with what she had grown.
And he's always longing to return to that warm, safe space that he prods at.
Taken from his egg womb earlier than he wanted.
As he slowly pokes it, he's trying to say, here, here. And no one will listen.
Return me to the ashes, please.
Isn't that like a Freudian theory that you want to return to the womb?
I think so.
It sounds Freudian.
It's somebody's theory. I think it's Freud.
Freud was
That
into
old
some
creep.
weird stuff.
Yeah, that guy.
I feel like, I mean, he did some good stuff for psychology, but I also feel like a lot of what he did was try to justify Freud to the world. This is normal, guys.
I mean, yeah, at the time there wasn't anybody to tell him no. Again, I feel like if that was his goal, he could have achieved it.
Return to the cinders?
Unless he has to play by some like weird giant rules to get there. Maybe he's not allowed to just like self-immolate and return to the fire womb. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a longer ritual involved. And it's
And it apparently involves camels.
Somehow I don't think this is the direction.
well, fine.
I feel like I've been lied to also.
How so?
The title Cinderstick does not imply that it's a Taylor reskin.
Taylor DLC.
Yeah. Just a costume to unlock for the Brave Taylor.
I mean, his character's very different from the Taylor, though. Cause
Yeah, the Taylor was awesome, and this guy sucks.
Yeah, this guy's scared all the time. Anytime he makes a plan, it's a dumb one, but like his instincts are good.
Seemingly so.
They get him out of the trouble. Maybe because on some level he connects with these giants. Because he is also not very clever.
He's trying to learn from them.
The move with
Maybe-
the fox was probably his best moment.
Maybe he's an anthropologist. Maybe he's just trying to study them. That was his degree. He hasn't been able to find a job. His wife says, you got to bring in something. And he says, like, well, no one will hire me to do it. So I'm giving myself a grant to go out into the field and do research.
So he's like...
I'm going to write in
Now is my
ethnography and then get famous.
He's the Nat Geo explorer of giants.
Yeah, he just did it. He just, like, went outside and did it.
What was that fox's beef? What did Fox stand to gain?
Maybe he's just a very honest fox.
It's just an asshole fox.
I mean, maybe he doesn't like Cinderstick because he's hurt. He's sided with the wife.
Who has?
The fox.
Has sided with the wife.
Yeah.
In what way?
Like, he's been out there chewing on their chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe feeling a little bit guilty about it because it shouldn't be this easy. Like, he
wants a challenge.
He's gonna do it, but he's overhearing the wife and the hard time she's having with this layabout husband. And so while he's like noshing on some hens, he's thinking, man, she deserves way better than this. This guy sucks. And then when the giant tells him about the fellow, the fox just can't help but laugh at him and tell his side of the story. I don't know.
That seems unfox-like.
If that guy never learns his lesson and goes home, then those hens stay unguarded.
I think they would stay unguarded either way.
They have been unguarded, whether he's home or not.
Him leaving does not change the guard.
Right, but if he's able to go back home, because that's his first action once he's sure the giants are gone, is to go back home.
And now the fox has camels to eat.
Maybe he's just trying to complete his dominance over this man. He has been successfully, like, eating his livestock and stealing from him for a long time, and now he just wants to close the victory.
What if the reason Cinderstick pokes Cinders is because every time he's tried to go outside and do something, there's been, like, a whispering fox-like voice gaslighting him into believing his uselessness?
His psyche has been slowly beaten down over the years, and he just can't get up most days.
Yeah.
Does this fox just hate beta cucks?
Evidently, this fox needs complete dominion over Cinderstick.
He seeks him out to shout him down at every pass.
And to undermine him and manipulate him.
I don't understand otherwise. I don't see what this fox stands to get from this situation.
More hens. If he keeps this guy, like, beaten down or dead, those hens are never going to get guarded. So if the wife fell for this guy at one point while he was doing stuff, and then it was after the marriage that he stopped working on anything, like, maybe once they got the new house, they happened to build it near this fox's home, and the fox is like, those are some sweet chickens. That guy's doing a really good job of taking care of them. I gotta slowly, like water torture, wear away at his psyche until he's good for nothing but poking ashes with a stick.
This fox has been negging this man?
Yes.
Constantly for years.
I'm sure there are terminologies you could be using that don't come from the Pickup Artist Handbook.
I'm doing that on purpose, obviously.
I just don't know how relevant that is to this particular situation.
A fox eating hens?
Fine, whatever. I can't argue with your logic, because there isn't any.
Because there isn't any.
You can't argue with something that doesn't exist.
That's my secret, Captain.
That never makes sense.
Okay, so that kind of explains his cinder poking thing, and also why she would have married him.
So.
It's better that he wants to return to the cinder womb.
I don't know. I kind of like that one.
I like Cinder Womb.
Maybe it's both. Maybe that's where he finds his comfort.
I think he is an otherworldly creature that is trapped. Trapped on our plane of existence.
We have a new cryptid.
So he was hatched.
The Cinderstick.
Exactly.
He was hatched from the ashes, and he grew into a capable man until a fox started negging him into a depression, and then he spent all his time trying to return to the womb via a stick.
Or he's
But it's all the fox's fault.
Does that include him being a cryptozoological
Yes.
phenomenon?
Yes,
Okay.
it includes him being birthed from a cinder egg.
I mean, even if he's not that, he definitely feels some sort of kinship with Cinder.
Right.
Here,
Maybe
Something that has been burnt away to nothing.
maybe that ash dance
it's very
was
poetic.
a way to coat himself in bravery.
How good at he was.
Yeah, maybe it's traditional. Maybe it's like the Maori war dance. It's like
Yeah.
the haka for his people.
How
Yeah.
good was he at football in high school?
None.
This who?
Cinderstick.
Um,
Does he see himself as a burnt out husk? Never to achieve greatness again.
Oh, did
And
he
so-
did
so
he
he's-
drop the game-winning catch or something? Is it a metaphor?
It must be.
See now we're drilling down into like the good, but he is still a monster.
So sure,
Yeah,
okay.
he's a
Played high-
cryptozoological.
Who played high school football? I do want to keep that because I think it's important.
Now, can we have high school football played with chickens instead of like a ball?
Played against chickens.
Like throwing a chicken.
Yeah, like
Human school versus chicken school.
I do think football could be improved by the ball having some agency and intelligence. Yeah, rise up, Atlanta Falcons, Super Bowl 2017.
That will have passed by the time this is up.
Maybe they risen.
We either won for the first time since whenever, 50 years maybe. We haven't been there in like 20 years. I don't know.
Keep forgetting how old I am.
Or my people will have won
Your people
and crushed you again
Um,
into submission.
The South will rise
My-
again, or whatever.
My Monday will be the same either way. I will be watching it.
It will be hard not to.
Yeah, well, I was informed that I was going to be at an event, and so I shall.
Uh-huh.
I am probably going to be at my parents' house. Because they probably will be ordering wings and pizza, and that's what I root for every Super Bowl. Like, I root for the wings and for the pizza and for the funny commercials. And you know what?
Puppies.
I always win, because those are the real champions of the day. If you root for the food, you're the winner every time.
I have a final thought on Cinderstick
Oh,
and his prodding of the flames. We can continue to discuss his football history afterwards.
Okay.
If you'd like.
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
But do you think that he prods at it as a symbolic way of trying to kickstart his life again? Like, please, little fire, jump back to life.
Please start.
Please, please reignite.
Is it symbolic or is it literal? Is his spirit tied to the flame? But he can't be the one to start it.
Much as he tries.
His people are a symbiotic people.
Yes.
Someone else has to start the fire. He can only curate it.
What has his wife been doing that this fire has never been relit?
Well, it says he's sitting by the fire.
Oh, is it lit?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well.
thought it was just a pile of ash.
He's poking
Thanks.
at the ashes.
Thanks for
Well, that ruins everything.
thanks for ruining that beautiful metaphor.
Those
that was
football
built.
dreams.
Well, he could still have been playing chicken football until a fox told him how much he sucked. And then he dropped the winning football pass, and the chicken fell straight into the fox's mouth, and he's like, I suck at everything.
Is,
I-
Never again.
I might as well poke the ashes with a stick.
is the fox the poetry nerd that really got to him and told him, I'm going to be running the world when we grow up, and you'll be nothing?
You'll be working for me one day.
And then the fox stares at him through a window with feathers sticking out of his mouth, slowly chewing on the last of the gristle while the man stares back and pokes sadly at his fire.
Chewing on the chicken ball that had become his friend. Where do you think his wife got the egg? that he came from.
Did she necessarily have to be the one to hatch it?
Well, where did he come from? Where did anybody find the egg?
I don't know. He came from an egg, and then he grew into a good chicken footballman.
She wished for a baby that was white as snow, and a fairy said to have a husband instead.
It's an egg that's white.
It's an egg with a football history.
And it's gray as ash. I'm sorry, your wish got a little bit garbled. Our operators are standing by.
I'm satisfied. I think that is the truth. All my questions were not in like what had transpired, but what had led up to these moments.
Right, we needed the backstory.
Yeah.
I knew that from sentence 1.
Yeah.
When I called it out. Whoa, we don't have the full picture yet. Now I feel satisfied.
We need some flashbacks to fill out this story. And we just intercut them and we got a movie. Remember that?
What?
Remember when we used to do that?
Sure.
Do you want to do that now?
Let's do it.
Do you want to cast it?
Yeah.
We don't have to, but does anything strike you?
Forrest Whitaker.
As...
Cinderstick.
I was going to say Gary Shandling. I could go for Forrest Whitaker.
Let's just get him in there somewhere. Could be the fox.
He could be. I like him as the fox.
I think that's a good role for him. Who's the giant, the main giant? And the wife. The wife, I think, she really doesn't say much.
No, she just yells. Who's good at yelling? Who's good at being tired and put upon? What's that lady's name who was in Everybody Loves Raymond?
The wife?
Yeah. Because she had legit reasons to be...
Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
Deborah?
Oh.
His wife, you mean?
Yeah, that's basically this character. Someone who has every right to be angry, but comes across as shrewish because writers.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I wish we had better female roles to give out. We have a few, but...
We have some strong female characters.
We have some.
We're starting to get more.
I think in most stories, the roles for women are just not that good. Like in
true.
this one.
And plays as well, which was part of the reason why theater eventually got lame for me. I mean, we do have our fair share of harpy wives and like evil stepmothers and princesses getting snatched out of fields by wandering princes.
Yeah, like there are a lot of bad roles there.
But we also have cool ass spittle princess.
There are a few in there for sure.
We've got our Church of the Knife members.
Is this one?
We didn't cast her. I don't think we cast Robber Girl or Unanana.
We didn't. Is this one of them, though?
The wife?
Yeah.
I mean, she stands up for herself. It would depend on how the writers treat it. Because if you look objectively at Everybody Loves Raymond, Deborah has every right to be angry at him every time she's angry at him.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear on this podcast.
What?
If you look objectively at Everybody Loves Raymond.
Uh-huh.
But, like, he's doing dumb shit all the time that's making her life really difficult, except he's cast
More
as...
difficult.
Right.
Yeah. But everybody loves him.
He's cast as the sympathetic character, and so...
Show's not called Everybody Loves Debra.
And so she is portrayed as being an unreasonable harpy bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything she's saying is legit, and definitely she needs to just get rid of that marriage and get away from his crazy mom and go have a happy life somewhere with a person who respects her and does things to help.
To clarify, Gordy, I don't mean to ask if this is a ranking official in the church.
No.
I simply mean, has she read the literature? Has someone come to her door and has she taken charge of her life?
Did not get that sense.
You did not.
I didn't.
And I think she's just like a regular woman who thought she was getting a responsible, nice husband. And
from
instead,
that egg she bought from the witch?
Yeah. And instead she hatched herself as an ash poker. She's disappointed. She's standing up for what she wants in life.
Well, that...
Also, all the giants are played by Brian Posehn.
Yes. Yes. Done. I like all of those.
Wrap it up. This one is cast.
I like it. I'm satisfied.
Got another one in the bag? I think we really solved this one.
Sure. He coated
Clap
himself,
on the back, everybody.
He coated himself in competence ash, and then he was able to deal with the giants
Yeah,
by
but
reconnecting to his people.
by reconnecting to his species and his football past.
Cool. All right. Well, we're on Patreon and YouTube and Twitter. Are we tweeting?
Sometimes.
Sometimes we
Yeah, I
tweet.
guess. We're all over the internet under the handle What the Folklore, or WT Folklore.
Or What the Folklore podcast.
Any of those will find you, us.
Yay!
Find us for you. Go to Let Me Google That For You and type in What the Folklore and then send that link to somebody. Because that's always a fun gag.
Okay, well, thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
And patrons.
And patrons. More the patrons than Doug, but, you know, Doug's what keeps us going.
Spirit of Doug.
I need Doug in my life.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you have a moment, share the episode. Go rate us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. Comment. Do something. Engage. Call your senators.
Tell them about us.
Maybe prioritize that one.
Calling senators.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe about real issues, but you should, plug us at the end there.
But if Mitch McConnell has a minute, and I feel like he does, why don't you get him caught up on some new suggestions?
As a man that was also born from an egg, he might find something to enjoy in this podcast.
Yeah, get on it, Kentuckians. Kentuckyites?
Kentucky Yuns?
Kentacos?
Kentuckywa?
Kentucktopie?
Kentuckwaji?
Alright, we're What the
Okay.
Folklore. That's how it works. Bye. See you next week.
Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
This has been What the Folklore. Thanks for listening to our show. If you have any feedback for us, you can leave it either by Gmail or Facebook. Our Gmail account is wtfolklore@gmail.com, and our Facebook page can be found at facebook.com/WTFolklore. Feel free to send in stories if you have any particularly odd pieces of folklore or mythology that you would like to hear us talk about. Special thanks to the Brobdingnagian Bards for the use of their song Happily Ever After from their album Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales.